Yucel.
Hey, how's it going, Chris?
Good to see you again, man.
Have you seen again?
Right on, dude. Well, thanks for signing up for another meeting. It's nice to like talk to people recurringly and kind of, get to know you guys.
Yeah, I would, I would guess that it is. You know, uh, Making connections with people is kind of hard at this stage.
Hmm.
Um, for a
Do you mean
couple of,
do you mean at this stage in life or this stage in realization or
well, in my case, there's no separation, right? But I mean, primarily with regards to realization, because there were
Hmm.
so many things that used to interest me before, right?
Hmm.
Now there aren't that many things that interest me. Like I can talk about world affairs and stuff, but I really don't have a dog in the race,
Right, totally.
you know? I still like sex,
Hmm.
but chasing it is a drag.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that's worth chasing. I don't have. I would love to have, society, or I'm very social, but I can't find the people that I like being social with. Because,
Yeah.
like, if their energy is in a dark place, um, like, snap out of it. Like, you got your own work to do. I'm no longer that rescuer that, well, I still am a little bit, but but not so much anymore. My patience for it is very thin.
Hmm.
Um, so partly it's a function of life. I'm 65. I'm getting ready to retire. I don't need to do anything else, and I'm fortunate that way. And part of it is, gosh, there just isn't that much that's interesting, and so much of what people are upset about is just shit in their own head that
Hmm. Totally.
they have work to do to get through, and they either want to do it or they don't, and so it's hard.
Hmm.
And this particular topic that we're talking about, not that many people can hang with this topic at any level.
Hmm.
And for me, I've gotten to a place with it where if I try and talk about it to someone who isn't like at your level, I end up confusing myself.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we're talking about the ineffable, so it totally makes sense. You were talking about something that cannot be really talked about. It can be circled around with words, but the essence of this, it just can't really be directly pointed at.
And being not firmly established in it, when I start talking around it, I start skating away from it.
Yeah, that tends to happen for
Yeah, yeah.
sure.
So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. I've been playing with some of the stuff that we did. Not established in it, but dancing around the edges. I was just watching about 10 minutes of a 2 hour long thing that Angela was doing about where to put attention.
Hmm.
Um, and I've had this question in my head about where to put attention, or what is attention. There's attention, there's awareness, there's and
Do
I
those seem like two separate things to you?
yeah, awareness is more like what you see in the flashlight. Attention's kind of where you point the flashlight. You seem to have some degree of free will with attention.
Hmm.
A noise can pull it off to the side. You can have a feeling in your chest that you ignore or go into, or a loud sound or whatever can grab attention. Um, but attention feels like something that we actually have some free will around. We push attention around. Not quite sure how or what does it. Um, but it sort of feels like attention must somehow be close to our core.
Yeah, it is. I mean, attention is like a technology of infinite consciousness. So, same with the mind, the finite mind. The finite mind, what you generally perceive as yourself, what people typically take to be themselves, is this mind that they think they are. And this mind or this self is just a technology of infinite consciousness. It's a technology by which unbound, boundaryless consciousness can have a finite experience or can know a finite experience. And same with attention. Attention is just a technology. It's a technology of consciousness by which it can point in a certain direction and thus have a finite experience rather than an infinite experience.
So is attention a seventh sense?
Uh, everything is a modulation of awareness. So attention is just a focusing mechanism of awareness. That would
Focusing.
it's just a constriction or a contraction of focusing of unbound awareness. It's just
Okay.
binding it with the technology of mind into a specific and focused direction, such that infinite consciousness can now have a finite experience.
It
Or,
does feel like mind pushes it around.
hmm,
Like, if you say, put your attention on your feet, or if I say, what's going on with my feet, the the command from the head, put your attention on the feet, seems to move the attention around. So it sort of seems like it's at the command of the mind.
sure, but it's the same thing, right? Isn't mind just attention?
Mm,
We like to categorize these things and place them into different, we, but it tends to just overcomplicate it. I want you to actually answer so that we can sense into, where the distinction is for you. But isn't mind and attention just kind of a focusing mechanism of awareness? Or how does it differ if it does?
I haven't been able to. I got to turn a fan on. Excuse me, just a second.
Sure.
I haven't been able to dissect that, seeing where mind ends and attention begins. Are you able
That's,
to hear all that?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you can't dissect where attention begins and where mind begins, the distinction between them. And that's because there isn't one.
The attention doesn't feel like a thought. Um, in a sense, attention feels more real than a thought.
Okay.
Because if your attention's on something, whatever it is actually happening right now, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So in a sense, it's like awareness, but I don't know.
Everything you can ever know is like awareness because ultimately it is.
Yeah. And as we get quieter and quieter, um, what moves attention around when the mind's quiet? If it's
A lot less and oftentimes nothing.
uh, so just let it rest where it is. Here's Angelo talks about natural meditation.
Hmm.
What he means by that?
Well,
You,
I haven't watched a whole lot of Angelo. I've watched enough of him to know that he's he's a real one. He's speaking from his direct experience, and he knows he he's in direct relationship with his fundamental essence. And
that
so I've
wasn't a quiz. That was to ask you if you knew what he meant by it. So I was going to translate it for you if you didn't.
yeah. So please translate because I probably have not seen it.
So for him, my understanding of what he says natural meditation is you let your attention roam free, but you keep your awareness on where your attention is. So, throughout the day,
Or where
I'm,
you're looking from, maybe.
and what is actually in awareness to be attentive to it. So, like
Okay.
talking to you, be aware that that's what's if wherever the attention is, be aware of it. Or wherever the awareness is, keep your attention on it, as opposed to becoming unconscious.
So is it
Like
kind of like a presence meditation?
it could be presence, except you're not trying to keep your attention in any particular place. It could go to thoughts, it could go to
Okay.
sounds, it could go to sight, wherever it is fine. You're
Mhm.
not trying to direct it, but you're trying to be aware of it. Um, like if I'm playing a game of chess, 20 minutes goes by and I don't know where I've been, and I've been focused on the chess, but I haven't been aware of being alive or anything while the chess game was going on. So I consider that to be unconscious in a certain way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I suppose.
Someone who's in a video game, they're completely immersed in a video game and they're unconscious, including in the video game, because they're not even aware where their awareness is. They're just in it.
Okay. Yeah. So you're using consciousness it like interchangeably for mind or the focusing of awareness. Because when you're saying I'm conscious of this and sometimes I'm unconscious of this, there is something that is there in both states. Can you locate what that is?
I I know that on a level, the awareness that I am is there,
Hmm.
but it's completely identified with the experience, so it's not, and it's kind of separate and dualistic and everything else. It's not or maybe that's maybe is that how it feels when you're experiencing non-duality, except now you're immersed in non-duality as opposed to immersed in a video game or immersed in a chess game or immersed in driving or an argument. I don't know.
Well, it feels like the energy isn't being pulled in a direction. Like it's directionless. Like it's all a free flow of infinite energy. And so it feels as if everything is just flowing infinitely and not being pulled in a specific direction. Your attention isn't being modulated in such a way that it's being siphoned off from your original essence, your full charged battery of awareness. It's not being like leached out towards things.
So is your
Basi-
focus more open all the time?
yeah, completely panoramic and undirected. Unless you intentionally want to use the technology of mind to focus in a specific direction to have a specific outcome or experience. And that can be done, but just know when you're picking up the mind and focusing in such a way that you want to alter reality. That's mind is the tool by which we alter reality.
So you're aware of the chair on your butt and the headphones on your ears and all the colors. You're aware of all of it right now.
Not necessarily. I'm aware of my immediate experience. And the thing is, the immediate experience is just a representation of the infinite essence that always is. And so it doesn't matter if you're having a big experience or a small experience. You realize that even the small experience is still the infinite. It's still an expression of the infinite. This can get a little bit conceptual, and I don't want to get too conceptual just because it's not that helpful. Basically, what we're talking about is detaching awareness from its objects. So initially, you just need to decouple awareness from that which it is aware of, just enough so that you can understand what you are in every circumstance.
That's awareness from what you're aware of. So let's say we're going into the sense gates of hearing.
Sure.
That sounds like an attachment.
Although it's just a modulation. What would be attached?
Well, if I'm trying to bring my focus to my hearing um, and when I do that, my experience of it is I sort of sometimes can feel the mirroring or the echoing of the sound, if you know what I mean by that. Do you
Hmm.
know what I mean by that? Yeah.
I think
So
so.
sound, and then there's the click I play back to my head.
Right, right, right.
So I can sometimes see that those are two different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the real thing that's happening is the actual click of the snap of the fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I forgot why I went off on that, but when I'm putting my attention on my hearing, um, I'm actually putting it. I'm going to be quiet and listen.
No, I know exactly what you're trying to say, but there's basically a two-step process to this entire thing. If we're really going to simplify it down, the first step is to decouple awareness from its contents. So it doesn't matter what the fuck you're aware of, just understand that no matter what you're aware of, you are just the awareness in that situation. That's step one. Sit there. Just sit there. That's meditation. That's turning the keen eye of awareness back upon itself to just understand its original nature. And then when you're talking about exploring the sense gates, that's step two. Step two is investigating from that essence, from that awareness that is decoupled from its contents. What is its actual relationship to all of these contents? These contents just being modulations of the sense gates, hearing, tasting, touching, whatever. Everything that can ever be known is the senses. Everything that can be known is the senses. Everything that comes through the senses is not actually coming from an external environment to an internal environment. The senses themselves are actually modulations of awareness. And that's what non duality ultimately leads to the understanding of and the direct experience of. But those are two different steps. And I always recommend first establishing yourself in just the awareness. Can you know right now that you are just awareness of this present circumstance, of this now moment?
I feel it. It's more of a feeling than a, oh yeah, I know that.
What would awareness, consciousness, of course, they're just words. And oftentimes when you hear these things, sounds like a concept like, oh yeah, okay, I know what awareness is. I know what consciousness is. Okay, yeah, I'm that. Okay, now what? And but that's the step you're skipping. That's the most important step that's being skipped by most people is awareness and consciousness are just words. You need to understand what this is pointing to, what this actually is in your direct experience. Like, what is awareness? Can you locate it right now?
Sort of feeling into it. The deeper I go into it, the more words disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Can't explain it to you, but it feels like I'm getting there.
Yeah, and the mind, and the closer you get to just pure awareness, the mind goes blank, right? It
Kind of
can't.
goes back. You remember I said your face gets funny, your face is
Yeah,
getting funny, and I'm trying not to get distracted by it, but these are the outer signs that I see something's happening.
right. And don't get distracted by the outer signs because they'll just pull you away from this essence. We just need to become established in this essence, and once you do, understand that it's not you establishing in pure awareness. You actually are this pure awareness. If we bring mind into this, we'll say, oh, okay, I understand what pure awareness is. I'm this pure awareness. But no, you're still assuming you're an identity in pure awareness. When you really do this, true meditation is going here and understanding that there is no individual here in pure awareness. There's just pure awareness. And you are that. That's what most people are missing here because the mind can't grasp this. And there's such a tendency to want an answer in the mind, to want a something the mind can hold on to and know, but it's not that. It's the release of that. If you can do that right now, you'll have liberated literally these contracted forms of energy through which you've viewed life for your entire life here. This is real and practicable. People are just skipping this.
How did you get to this initially without someone like you pushing you into it? I mean, it seems so much easier when there's someone like you and I've seen them, other people like you, sitting with someone and they will push the person into the space like that.
Mm,
You don't have a Chris sitting in front of you. How do you do it on your own? It's like I look into your eyes and I kind of zone into that space.
hmm
Um, I don't know if your eyes are a focus element or if you're transmitting.
I'm not doing anything actively, but perhaps what you're sensing into is just the decontracted state of pure awareness that's here. Perhaps I'm just a representation of that in your experience.
Do you know what I mean by transmission?
I
Uh,
do. I do. I do. Yeah, I it's real, it happens. Uh, but I shy away from it a little bit because it can place a sense of importance on the individual seemingly transmitting. You know what I mean? Because
I,
it's not an active transmission. It's nothing that I'm doing. There's nothing special about me other than I've completely blown apart any sense of individuality. And so in that,
actually, there is something special about you in this process, in the transmission process. The way I see it is kind of like, have you ever been to a comedy show?
yeah.
So there's a guy or a girl standing in front of a room of a certain size with people who are ready to laugh. They tell the jokes, everybody in the room laughs, and they're transmitting, so everybody's laughing. If you're watching it on TV, you may giggle, but you won't laugh.
Mm,
The transmission, or someone gets hurt, everybody starts crying.
hmm
It's the transmission. You're in that energy. So when you're in that energy, just like if you told a joke, I'd laugh. It's the transmission. It's it's communication on a nonverbal level.
hmm Yeah, perhaps if there can seem to be an active element that I'm doing, it's unintentional, but it's the fact that I know who and what you are right now.
You know that, right?
What's that?
You know that with everybody, right?
Well, yeah,
More,
ultimately everything's the same thing. So it's not a complication. It's not like me knowing I don't know the details of your life at all, but I know that essence which knows all of the details of your life because it's the same essence that knows all the details of mine. There's no boundary between that essence.
so step one is, I guess, coming from that place of awareness. You have to get to that place of awareness first, right? You can't just know it. You gotta, you
You have
know,
to be it. You have to sit in it. You have to merge with it. That's true meditation. Understanding and sitting, dissolving into essentially the essence that knows this now moment or pure awareness.
so what's a good way to get into it when I don't have like your eyes to stare into and your guidance to push me there? How do I get there on my own?
Yeah. What I always recommend because it worked for me is always asking yourself, what essence knows this? So whatever experience you're having, I think we talked about this last time perhaps, is no matter what experience it is, ask yourself, what essence knows this moment? And then don't come up with an answer, but where that puts you is in this auspicious place of pure awareness. It automatically delivers you back to the essence that knows, which is just awareness. And in that, it attention is no longer focusing on seeming external objects. It's now focusing on seeming internal space of awareness.
What
That
essence this moment is what you
that's what I like using. Yeah, that's what helped me a lot.
okay.
Does it bring you into this space? Like if you really do it, try it right now. Does it bring you into this space when you ask yourself, like, what essence is hearing this Chris guy talk? Like, what essence knows this moment?
Floating around, it's dancing around, it doesn't just go to one spot. I'm looking for it in I feel myself looking for it in my body, but something's happening. There's shifting going on.
Yeah, I mean, part of this it does require a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of understanding, and it's that you should totally dismiss that one that's moving around because that's also just an object of awareness. What what essence knows that?
Okay. So what I got from that is if I think I know something, I need to go to what's the essence that thinks it knows something.
Right. And the mind will tell you this is stupid. This is an infinite loop, but it's not. It every time you do it, you're introducing the solute into a solvent. This space is the ultimate solvent of illusion.
There's the chemist.
So every time you're asking yourself, what knows this? Like anything that pops up in mind, be like, oh, I'm having trouble, I can't locate it. There's an essence that knows that. There's an essence that knows that you're having trouble and you can't locate it. It's right here. It's always right here. It's inseparable from you because it is your true self. It is the I that everybody refers to as I. It's the essence of I am.
Okay. And when I'm at the whatever that is, that's the essence, what then?
Just stay
What's
there.
the next step?
Just stay there.
To stay there.
Yeah. That's meditation. That's true meditation. Every other type of meditation is still an activity of mind. This is the only real meditation. No offense to all the other meditation practices, but if meditation if the goal of meditation is to realize the self, then this is the only meditation.
Now, this sounds a whole lot like who am I?
Sure. That's
And,
another good one.
and when I've done that and searched around, eventually found that there's nothing there.
Mm-hmm. But something was aware.
Something was aware, but it wasn't a thing. I mean, it's an empty space.
Hmm.
Uh, um,
Perfect. Yeah, actually that's great. Okay. So it was an empty space. What knew that?
I don't know if it was space. I mean, it was empty. There was no matter what I kicked over, it just wasn't there.
Yeah, spaciousness is like the mind trying to place the dimensionless essence of this into time and space. So space makes sense from the mind's perspective.
And just stay with that, and eventually it collapses in on itself.
Yep. Yeah, I mean the second part can be done at any time. Like, okay, you have 5 minutes to do this. You have 5 minutes today to meditate. You're busy the rest of the day. Okay, do it for 5 minutes, and then in the last minute, in the fifth minute, or when the meditation is over, open your eyes and now investigate what does this mean for my reality? If I am just the essence that knows, what does it mean for me touching this notebook? Like what actually is this then? If I'm just the essence that knows, what actually is this? So part two is an investigation that you don't have to wait to do, but doing step one allows you to do step two properly.
Now, when you're doing step two,
Mm-hmm.
are you looking for an answer in mind?
No, never. You're never looking for an answer in mind.
Or you're looking at what's this, but you're not looking for an answer in mind.
Right. You're just feeling into what's here, what's actually here.
True.
If a mind story comes up, dismiss it outright.
Uh, I got up here the trick answer, which is why it's funny. It's,
Hmm.
the answer is awareness.
Of
Just awareness.
course. Yeah, ding ding ding, correct answer, but that means absolutely jack shit if you're not actually sensing into the essence of what this is pointing to. That's still just pointing.
How would you use this with a sense gate?
It's the same thing. So like pick one. Pick a sense right now.
Let's do hearing.
Okay. Are you hearing anything right now that you can pick out? Oftentimes it helps if it's like a steady hum or any consistent noise.
It's a little hum.
Okay. What is it? What's it made of?
So much easier when it's just the awareness of it. Oh my God.
It's very simple. Self-realization is very simple. It's the essence that knows, and that's it. It's the essence of I, essence of I am. But it's the essence. It's not the knowledge. So if knowledge comes into mind, it's dismiss it. Maybe it's good knowledge, maybe not. Just sense into the essence. That's all you gotta do.
How old are you?
36. Sorry,
What, what year?
I just got back from the gym. I got sweat dripping in my eye or dry sweat, salt.
Yeah, it burns. When you're really old, when you think about it, you still won't remember.
Right, right.
If when you were 16, you knew it. Like
16 and a half. Yeah, I'm 16 and three quarters, motherfucker.
you got to think about it. Once in a while, you get it wrong by a year.
Right, right, right. Yep, yep.
Wow. Um, I think you gave me a lot to chew on. Is there any other direction that you want to take this now? Because you gave me stuff to work with. So,
Sure, yeah,
uh,
yeah. I mean, that's all you need to do. Everything else would just complicate this. But I can give you a couple other ways to frame this because concepts they can be helpful because they can reassure you along the way that okay, you're looking at this in the right direction or at least you're moving in the right way. So another way to kind of conceptualize this so that energetically you can trust and feel into it in a better way is let's see. That have you ever had a dream? Can you recall a dream?
okay.
Can you describe it just really briefly? It doesn't matter what kind of dream it is, but just kind
There was a boat, people swimming in the water. It was a big ship. Um,
of and w what were you in that?
I don't remember all those details.
But like you were looking from a perspective and looking out and you saw landscape, right?
Water, ship. Yeah,
In your dream, did you think that the water and ship were you?
no, they were separate.
Right. But now think of what a dream actually is. It's entirely a modulation of your mind, your dreaming mind, right?
Right.
There's absolutely no part of that dream that was outside of you. So the waves, the boat, the water, it was all made of your mind. You know this, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no way it could be other than that. It all happened in your mind. And yet you were perceiving from a localization that you thought was you in the dream, looking out at a landscape that you thought was separate from you in a dream. That's exactly what's going on here. Can you transpose that knowledge that everything in that dream was just a modulation of your own awareness into this awake, living, daily life? It's the exact same thing.
Back to, like when it was this thing, the only thing that existed was the awareness of it. And if I'd been waving out here and I wasn't like aware of it, it wouldn't have happened.
Hmm.
for practical purposes.
Well, just like if you did, if something wasn't in the dream, it wasn't in existence in as far as the dream state goes. Well, this is the exact same thing.
What happens when you're dreaming? Are you aware that it's a dream? Are you keeping the non-duality going through the dream state?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, oftentimes there's fewer dreams, just like there's fewer thoughts in wake reality, but they still come for sure. And yeah, there's a noticing of them. There's just like in awake reality, there's just not really an energetic investment in them. It's kind of like seen as a modulation of my own awareness, just like awake reality is. Oftentimes when there's no dream and it's just dreamless sleep, there's just this there's just this luminous all I can describe is a luminous awareness. It's not aware of anything. It just is the abidance of isness, and that is somehow self-luminous. What I take that to be is that's the undifferentiated infinite consciousness before it shines through the prism of mind and becomes an experience, becomes a finite experience.
Got any more?
Let me think of any other ways I can put this. Um, Nothing really comes to mind, honestly. I mean, really, it's just an investigation of the essence of I. Like, what am I? And then investigating the essence of that with no mental knowledge, just literally just feeling into the energetic essence of what is what is I.
I just want to give you some feedback on the thing you did with the dream
Hmm.
and tying it back to awareness. I mean, I've heard the thing with dreams like a million times, right? But you tied it to the experience I just had of the paper. So I felt it on a different level. So that was really good.
Good.
Um,
Yeah.
Even though that's like, I don't know, non-duality 101. Uh, Sometimes when you bring back those initial concepts later on, it's like, oh, there's an alphabet.
Yeah, I mean, partially why I think I can kind of communicate these things a little bit more viscerally is because I'm not very studied. Like I talk about these things in my from my direct experience. Like I don't really know the the tradition of non-duality very well. I'm not familiar with all of the stories or ways in which they point. I know what they're saying is real and true, and they're saying the same thing I am. But like when I investigate my direct experience, the essence that knows. And so in that, it just allows me to speak from direct experience, and hopefully that comes off in a more visceral and experiential way for whoever I'm speaking with.
Well, I'm at the point, and I have been for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, where I have enough clarity to tell people who are speaking, from personal experience, and people who are talking out of something they read somewhere,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, there's a clear difference.
It's a clear difference.
Yeah.
At least for me, I don't know that it's clear for everyone, but it's like, when someone's talking about sex, if you've had a bunch of it, the ones who are talking about it who've never done it,
Totally.
right? It's
Absolutely.
like that. Or, the taste of chocolate or whatever. It's, you can tell the person who's tasted the chocolate who's talking about it.
Mm,
It's not going to help you know the taste of chocolate.
perfect. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know who's said that before. I've heard somebody say, was that Angelo that says that? Or is that, no, that's Donald Hoffman, isn't it?
I, I had the chocolate thing for decades around this.
Mm.
I don't know that other people, it's such an obvious thing.
But it's perfect because it points to exactly what I'm trying to communicate, which is this is not a conceptual knowing. Like the taste of chocolate is not a conceptual knowing. The taste of chocolate is a feeling. It's like it's a natural essence that you either know because you've been there or you don't. And you can still talk about it if you don't, but you know the difference. People that have tasted it know the difference. And so that's
Yeah.
the same thing I'm talking about with the essence of I, or that
When you
essence.
taste just a little bit of chocolate, you know it's in there. I mean,
Perfect. Yeah, exactly.
oh, taste it once you've tasted it.
Right. Same with
Yeah.
the essence of I, the essence that knows this moment. Like feel it in the way that you know chocolate, know the taste of chocolate. Like you need to be there.
Well, you're doing a great job pushing me into it. So thank you. Um, I don't know if it's transmission or knowledge or dumb luck or what, but thank you.
Maybe it's all of them. I'm not sure
Oh,
either. Of
no, I don't know. But yeah. Um, yeah, thanks.
course, man.
So you're going to be busy all next month? Where are you going to be?
I'll probably I've got a lot of bat work and a lot of desert tortoise work that I got to do for a couple different projects. I'll probably be in and around the Mojave Desert mostly, probably mostly around like the Palm Springs area.
Wow, that's a hot time of year to be in Palm Springs.
I know, I know. That's partially why the contractor took August off. Is it was just unsafe. It was just too damn hot, and so yeah, I got a little bit of time and used it to have these meetings.
I'm glad we had a chance to talk. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Me too. Is it, I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about or investigate in any way? Like I'm here if you want it.
I let me think. I wanted to ask the few things I wanted to ask, and I don't want to get overloaded because then I get splintered, right?
Sure.
Um, unless there's something you could think of. I don't have any other, burning questions. And like I said, if I ask too many things and go in too many directions, then I just forget it all and confuse myself. So,
Yeah, well, perfect. Get used to that. Get used to being content with not asking any more questions. Because the mind will come up with an infinite amount of questions or an infinite amount of challenges to its own essential nature. But ultimately, there's an essence that knows the mind. And in that essence, there are no questions. So if a question arises, know that you're outside of it looking at it rather than tasting the chocolate.
all right, I just came out of it and had a question.
Yeah, I think that's
So
fine
let's
too.
say I'm driving the car or riding my bike. Um, let's say I'm riding my bike because that's a little safer than driving a car, but we can use driving a car. Um, what's a good practice when you're driving a car, riding a bike, walking? So you're not, you know, so you're not doing this, but you're driving. What's a good practice that you can do that's safe that helps keep on that track?
Sure. So oftentimes what's really uh becomes apparent is asking yourself when there's constant or consistent movement, asking yourself what is not moving? What is here that isn't moving? There's an essence here that never moves, that is not part of the movement. What is that?
And is that a safe thing to ask with your eyes open? Can you do that with your eyes open? Or you have to go do
Oh
that.
no, I do that with my eyes open because you're seeing all of movement and then
Oh,
asking yourself as you're seeing the movement, as you're manipulating traffic or like driving through traffic or riding your bike, whatever you're doing, like you're actively doing things, what essence here is not moving? It's it you could do the same thing when you're listening to music, for example. What essence here is completely silent? There's a silence that pervades all sound. And if you can feel into that, you're feeling into this same essence that I've been talking about this entire time.
I'm taking notes. So let's say you're listening to music and you're dancing.
Hmm.
Does the dancing take you out of it?
No,
Because there's a lot of mirroring and echoing that goes on with that.
all of the mirroring and echoing is still just a modulation of awareness. It's still just, it doesn't matter if it's the first sound or any of the subsequent echoes. There's an awareness that knows all of them.
The dancing is not necessarily anathema to practice.
Nothing is.
Okay.
Anything can be happening. What essence knows this?
And so with the music, is it what essence is silent? Because I have a hard time finding the silence. Maybe you could, if you have an exercise that could help find the silence in the sound.
Is
Uh,
is is that essence which is hearing all of the sounds? Is that moving at all? Is that modulating at all? Is that making any sound at all?
okay.
Can you feel into that while listening to music?
So what was that one? What was that question? That was a good question.
The essence that's hearing this music right now, is it moving? Is it making a sound? And in that, you've located the stillness within the movement of sound. I recommend the same thing in the visual field, in the taste field, all of it. So, like the essence that knows the taste of chocolate, for example, is that itself a taste. Again, we're still on step one. So, like right now, we're decoupling, we're distinguishing between that which is tasted and that which is tasting, the essence that knows the taste. That's still step one. But once you become affirmed there, that that is your essence, the essence that knows this experience, this now moment, then investigate. Because then you've clarified, then you've dissolved the mind, and now you can investigate clearly that, oh wait, this essence that knows is the taste of chocolate. This essence that hears is sound. There's no distance and no difference. But you need to clarify and make sure that you're not looking through the lens of mind in order to have that sort of direct sight, direct hearing.
Okay.
So first stabilize in the essence that knows, or the stillness, or the silence, then investigate the sound, the movement, the taste, whatever is known.
Very cool.
Yeah. And that way we're kind of polishing the prism of mind such that you're no longer viewing crud. You can now see clearly what actually everything is.
I can see clearly now the crud is gone.
For real. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's good. How do you do that with thoughts?
Thoughts are the same thing. Thoughts are just a modulation of awareness,
So
right?
what the question with the essence that's understanding these thoughts, or what's
Understanding is still kind of feels active to me. I would just pose the question, what essence knows this thought? And then just like the other step twos that we did with sound and tasting and whatever, it's the same thing. Okay, there's an essence that knows this thought that is not the thought. Okay, now I'm established in my true essence, my clarified space of seeing. Okay, now what is a thought? And in the same way, you'll notice that, oh, a thought is a modulation of this awareness. It's made of awareness, just like everything is made of awareness, but it's not separate from it because it's entirely made of it. And you are just this awareness. And that is non-duality. But this isn't a philosophy. This is done in our direct experience with these tools. And as you kind of said in kind of like when we opened the meeting, you said there was kind of like a disinterest in people's stories and you know uh, in politics or whatever kind of mundane small talk they were having. At some point, you realize that all of this mundane small talk is also part of this luminous awareness, and then everything can be enjoyed. Like you see even the small talk, it's just like a fun little play, a little dance of a little modulation of awareness itself. And so in that way, everything kind of takes on the luster of this single essence that you are.
So when you're listening to someone and they're telling you how their life is all fucked up and whatever, that's fun for you.
I wouldn't say it's fun. Like I feel compassion because they're clearly looking through a contraction of mind which creates a sense of suffering. But I know the essence that's doing that. And I know that essence is already free. And so I know that that entire suffering is still made of this. And so there's a sense of compassion because yes, that localization of consciousness, which is not separate from this localization of consciousness, it's a localization of the same essential essence of awareness, but that one seems to have gotten caught up in the illusion. And so there's a compassion there. But I still know what it is. I still know what it's made of. And so there's a compassion there. There's a tenderness there. I'll try to help them through it from where they're at. It doesn't help them to say, "Oh, that's just awareness, dismiss it." It doesn't help them. You need to meet them where they're at. And so I wouldn't recommend. I mean, you could do that if you're just a very like compassionate person and you yourself don't tend to get stuck up in those things, but that can often require a pretty established being in this to like wade through that kind of mud and meet people where they're at. But yeah, ultimately it's still the same boundless free substance of that is awareness.
So
It's
how do you help those people?
I do meet them where they're at.
When you give them the help for what they want help with?
Yeah, I mean some people have absolutely no ability to understand that what they are is awareness. And so we need to basically join them as this illusory person and deal with the illusions that the personhood has created. And so yeah, there's a meeting there. There's infinite consciousness can explore itself on an infinite array or spectrum of experience. And we call those different dimensions or different octaves, different vibrations. And even the low vibrations are still vibrations of this single essence.
Like to give you a more specific example,
Sure.
uh, and I'm not bragging to say this, I was a really good, spiritual seeker.
Mm-hmm.
And I went from being sick all the time and weighing like maybe 40, 50 pounds more than I do now to I'm healthy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I did it by things like law of attraction and Christian Science and other faith healing modalities. Um, so in my world, health is basically a state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm also like in that non-duality thing now where it's, you know, what's going on. So what if I'm healthy? I'm not the body, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I see someone who's not well, um, if I start talking Mary Baker Eddy or Christian Science or Law of Attraction with them, to me it also feels like I'm tangling myself in the world.
Hmm.
And I can't talk non-duality to them because they're not ready for that. So my tongue gets tied in knots because do I help them with all this spirituality stuff, which for me was scaffolding that I'm now burning,
Hmm.
but which would actually help them in their life because I also know that it's all perfect exactly the way it is. I know that. And I don't know if my brother needs a helping hand or a kick in the ass. Good example is drowning person. You have someone who's in the water 5 feet down and they're sinking about a foot a minute, and you try and pull them up, they may struggle and fight you. If you give them a 20-pound weight and they start sinking fast, they may drop the weight and go up to the. So you don't know if they need more weight or if they need rescuing. I went through so much shit in my life that I had to go through to get here. So I feel stifled in talking to other people about their stuff because should I help them with their symptoms and stuff with the whatever? I don't know what to do anymore.
Only if they're asking. A lot of people don't actually want help. They want understanding. They want to be heard. And so you need to just understand what they actually want. And then you can help them with that. But you're never going to get muddy because you're never that. This essence that is aware, this essence that knows this moment, it can never it can never be tainted. It can never be harmed. It can never be touched. You are that. If you think that you're going to get harmed or if you dirty or lower your vibration or whatever in order to help somebody, it's just another thought.
Okay.
And that thought can attract upon itself. Just you mentioned the law of attraction. This is the technology of mind I was talking about. The everything attracts upon itself like vibrations. We know that there's sympathetic harmonics going on that pervade the universe, and like attracts like, and consciousness does the same thing. But if you are the essence of consciousness, if you are pure consciousness, you're not attracting anything. You're allowing everything. Allowing everything is healing. If you can bring pure awareness into a sick situation or into like a disharmonious situation, if you can just be the pure awareness in that, there's a healing that's happening that is not of your doing. Those stuck vibrations, when met with pure awareness, there's no long they're kind of oscillating between two within an idea, right? Like there's an idea, I am sick. And so this vibration of sickness is oscillating with that within that idea. But the essence that knows that idea itself could never be sick. So everything is just a thought, which is also just a modulation of consciousness. And these thoughts attract upon themselves. But the essence that knows that is completely free. It can never be touched.
I'm glad to have met you.
Yeah, likewise.
Uh, That that sounds right on what you're saying.
Yeah, a lot of these things like they kind of just become intuitive. You just kind of see the way everything works. Because everything's just kind of clarified. It's that step one I was talking about, clarifying the essence of what you are, your essential nature, the knowledge, the knowing essence of this moment allows you to just kind of see things clearly. And then a lot of things just become obvious and intuitive.
My my wife, her name is Melody. She signed up for one of your sessions. I'm not
Yeah,
sure what it is.
I saw the same last name and I assumed that was your wife. Yeah.
So she, I was showing her like one of your videos or something. She's like, ah, yeah,
Wait
give
till
me.
she sees yours.
Uh, well, thanks, Chris.
Of course. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing. Thank you. All my love.